Here's an example of the source data file for visit information. As you can see, there are 6 columns populated, and again, the column header names avoid having spaces between the words. And in this case, we have the visit date, which again is month, day, year. So the aggregation function date assembler month first must be populated against this field in the information type in admin UI. To start mapping the next mandatory patient information file, visit schedule, from the admin UI homepage, select the drug program you want to add the dataset to. Select the clinical study dataset, edit. Again, from the clinical study setup page, select create mappings to source data. You can now see on the mappings page, as we've already populated the demography information that exists in the summary table, we now click add again, select our data type option, patient visit schedule. We will enter the file path manually. The files are stored on in Azure storage, so therefore we will start with Azure file, React, data, and then the folder names. And the file name. Followed by the file type, .csv. Uncheck predict columns and click OK. This now presents us with the patient visit schedule mapping table. As before, we have the data fields. The column is exactly the same as the demography. The only thing that varies is the data fields and which fields are mandatory and non-mandatory. You will see in this particular file that all the fields are mandatory. So we will start to map our source data columns. Visit number must be a number. And visit date must be a date in the date format. Again, as we have a visit date here, we can select the aggregation function and select how the visit date is represented in the source file. In the source file, it's represented as date assembler month first. So we shall select that, confirm the mappings are correct, and save. The pop-up appears to say that the mappings have been scheduled and were successful. Click OK. You can now see that in the type of information, patient visit schedule information is populated in the summary table and the appropriate file. You can now continue to map the last mandatory file, dose information. This table shows the visit data mapping table in admin UI above, and the bottom table shows the data files, gives a description about the data files, whether or not they're mandatory, and what type of data needs to be entered into the source data columns for it to be registered in the data field in admin UI.